my childhood.
All right, thank you for listening to Ruin My Childhood, the podcast where we decide if some things are better off in the past. I'm Mike.
And I'm Kat.
And what are we going to be talking about today, Kat?
The Flintstones.
The Flintstones.
The live-action film from 1994.
Yep, that's the one.
That is the one.
I don't really remember much about this movie. I remember liking it as a kid. I remember that there was some sort of promotional tie-in with some sort of restaurant. Like, I remember vividly seeing commercials with them with, like, some sort of food. And I just remember, like, John Goodman, Rick Moranis, and Rosie O'Donnell being in it. And I think the Olsen twins.
No. The Olsen twins were not in this movie, for sure.
They don't play the daughter?
No.
Are you sure? The little ginger girl?
No, it's some pathetic nobody. What I remember about this film was loving it as a kid. I think we actually owned it on VHS.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was special because we, like, I don't know, we owned a few movies, but not a lot of them. I remember Halle Berry was super sexy in it, like.
Oh, and the guy from Dune is in it.
Uncomfortably sexy. What guy from Dune?
The main guy from Dune and Twin Peaks. I think he plays the bad guy.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't
Kyle
seen
MacLachlan.
Dune, so
How have you not seen Dune?
because
That's
I
your
haven't
sister's
read
favorite movie.
Dune.
Have you really not seen Dune?
No, I haven't read it.
It's your sister's favorite movie.
Okay.
I feel
What's
like
your sister's favorite movie?
I don't know.
Cheetah Girls?
That was her favorite movie for a while. I mean, she's much younger than I am.
Have you seen all of her favorite movies?
I've seen a lot of them, but like for what I know about Natasha, she would watch that. I've sworn
Just because she named her daughter after the abomination from Dune does not mean I need to watch the movie.
I don't really remember. It's David Fincher, I think it was. Anyway.
You hijacked my synopsis of what I remember.
What do you remember? Halle Berry was hot.
Halle Berry was super sexy. I remember she was a big deal back in the day. And I really enjoyed the film. It was clever. It was cheesy and clever and enjoyable. And it was a big movie. There was a lot of advertising. It was very popular, which in hindsight is really odd.
Why is that?
Maybe I'm just spoiled by modern day blockbusters, but these days if something gets a ton of advertising, it's usually a pretty solid film. It's usually got an interesting concept, it's got a good script, it's got an all-star cast. This movie, I mean, we knew who all these people were, but there weren't any A-listers in it.
That's true.
It was based on a random Hanna-Barbera cartoon that no one had thought about in several decades.
I don't agree with that. I was watching the cartoon whenever I was at my grandparents' house. They had the cartoon channel that had that. I watched the Flintstones with my grandparents all the time. No,
I watched the Flintstones all the time. It just seemed like a totally random choice.
So, I know you like the Jetsons.
I love the Jetsons.
And they crossed over, so what do you feel about this?
But they crossed over?
Yeah, there's a Jetsons Meet the Flintstones movie.
You just blew my mind. But, maybe my parents were purists and wouldn't stand for it.
There's this theory that I'm a big fan of, that the Flintstones are not actually in the past. They're actually in the far future.
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, so for those not familiar with the Flintstones, like...
Who's not familiar with the Flintstones?
Anyway.
Just skip that.
So anyway, this theory is that it takes place far, far, far in the future, after like a post-apocalyptic world.
Mad Max,
and that would explain why the people know what like dishwashers are and cars and stuff like that. It's because society had them, and then they just had to make do in a post-apocalyptic world and reconfigure these things.
Right, because no one wants to see like dirty people sitting around like waiting for a lizard to pop out of a hole and then dying at 30.
Exactly. And so the theory is that the Jetsons were like the remnants of like the rich people who got to like get off the planet and like live above the fallout, and the Flintstones are remnants of like the poor population that had to live in the post-apocalyptic world. How do you feel about that theory? Does that blow your mind?
I don't like it one bit.
I think it's very plausible and it makes sense when they cross over. But I don't remember the crossover. I don't know if there was time travel involved or what, but I kind of like that.
I kind of feel like we would all just camp.
But eventually you rebuild. I like it. I like the theory.
I think no one should think too hard about the Flintstones ever.
Hey, it's the internet, and everybody has a fan theory about everything.
I
All right?
don't have a fan theory about everything.
Yes, you do. You just don't want to talk about it. But you do.
I can't talk about dirty X-Files themes on this show.
Oh, got it. So I think we should just get to our readers' comments. Last week we asked you guys to tweet, DM, or comment on our posts, about what you remembered about the Flintstones. So you want to go first? You have any?
Yes. On Instagram, AngieBangie4, great name, said the best part is McDonald's introduced the McRib as a promotional deal for the movie. I don't care if they are made of yoga mats and mystery meat. I'd eat them every day.
Yoga mats mystery. Is that true? Is that when the
Angie
McRib came
Bangie,
out?
you are not alone in that sentiment. I don't eat meat, so I can't relate, but I know a lot of people.
I mean, people go crazy every year when they bring that back.
Yeah.
But is that true? Is that it came out for this movie? It wasn't a thing before?
That sounds plausible. And you know what? I think I remember there being a commercial where they bring out like the half rack of ribs and set it on the side of the car, and they tied that in, because that's in like the Flintstones intro, right?
Yes. So maybe that's what I remember, because earlier I said I remember it being cross-promotional with some sort of food chain. Maybe it was the McRib.
I don't know. I feel like I have to Google this.
All right. So one of the ones I've got, this is from Big with 2 G's, Big415. He goes, when they are barbecuing and Dino takes Barney's steak. I don't remember this movie very much. I just remember the actors in it, so I'll keep an eye out for that scene. But I don't remember that.
Oof. Okay, I just Googled when did the McRib come out. It says 1981.
So Angie, you were wrong.
That picture, it looks like, it looks like a used maxi pad between 2 buns.
Oh, gross.
God. People eat that?
Yeah, people love the McRib.
Does it have a bone in it?
I don't think so.
Then what makes it a rib?
It's just rib meat.
That is not rib meat.
It's just a barbecue
There is
pork
no
flavor.
way in hell that is rib meat.
I don't know. Let's move on to our next comment.
It's just meat that's been tenderized in an acid bath and smothered with barbecue sauce.
Do you have any more comments to read from our fans?
I don't, but I just ruined it.
Are you sure?
Let's see. Jesus FTW says,
For the win.
The pigeon record in Fred office.
I think it's bird record.
Oh, that is definitely a pigeon. The bird record.
Does it like a phonograph? Like a turntable, maybe?
No. It's the dictabird. It's the, because he's got that bird that looks like Terrence, what's his name?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He plays the guru guy on Yes Man.
Oh, Terrence Stamp?
Terrence Stamp.
The creepy looking dude?
Yes, the Dictabird looks like Terrence Stamp.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what the Dictabird is.
How do you not remember the Dictabird?
I don't remember this movie. All I remember is like the actors in it, and I think he gets like a promotion so they can like make him a patsy for some scheme, but I cannot tell you any individual scenes.
Okay, I don't remember that, but now that you mention it, yes.
Yeah,
So it's in his fancy office. Anyway, we should just watch the movie.
No, I've got a couple more.
What?
Yeah, I've got a couple more. These are... So, one is actually from BS and Craft Beer. They actually commented last episode, but I just kind of want to read this one. So,
sup, guys?
Honestly, I don't remember Rick Moranis being in it. Like the emoji with like the little shruggy guy.
Rick Moranis was in everything.
I do know Bedrock was in my town at the Vasquez Rocks, and it was open to the public for a bit. My grandma took me there. That's a really nice memory. That's cool.
Where is that?
I don't know. Vasquez Rocks. We'll look it up.
Vaque.
Why don't you look that up?
That's how we Puerto Ricans
Vaque.
pronounce Vasquez.
And then this one's
Vaque.
probably my favorite comment. So Monkey on a Spinning Ball just commented on my post, it sucked.
Oh. Well, way to ruin it before we even get into it. Oh, it's in Agua Dulce.
Where's that?
California.
Wow, cool.
91350.
Nice.
Oh, isn't that still there?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure there's still something there.
I don't know.
In Agua Dulce.
Well, we'll research that later, and we'll just watch the movie now, and we'll talk about it.
Oh, it's near Palmdale. Nope, not going there.
All right. Well, let's just go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Wilma, I'm home!
This summer,
Yabba Dabba Doo!
from Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment.
All right, so we just watched The Flintstones, the 1994 movie, and I think my theory about it taking place in the future is kind of shot to hell.
Why is that?
So I didn't realize this was a Universal and an Amblin Entertainment picture.
Oh, that's right, because
so
it's Spielberg.
It said Steven Spielrock
That's so weird.
at the beginning. There was a lot of rock puns in this movie. But the Universal logo they changed, and it had Pangea, which is in the past. And then there's also in the opening, there's a scene where they're on like an airplane.
I mean, you're kind of playing fast and loose with geological eras there, but whatever.
Well, that's what it had. It had Pangea on the Universal globe.
I'm not talking about you personally, but I like it.
Yeah, so I thought that was clever. And then there is a thing where they say if you look to your left, you'll see the Grand Canyon in about 15 million years.
Yeah, there was a lot of cheesy stuff
so
like that.
It's definitely in the past, so I guess my theory is wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my theory, but it's a theory that I like.
How does it feel to be wrong for the first time ever?
I'm pretty sure that I've admitted I'm wrong. I've admitted that I was wrong a couple of times on this podcast.
Probably.
And both times you were like, what?
What? It happens so seldom.
So
the opening was super cheesy, but in the most delicious way. It's like you have that happy-go-lucky grandpa that likes to make puns, and then he wrote a movie.
Yeah, there were a ton of rock puns in this. Like
everything was a pun. So
they did the opening credits from the cartoon kind of like twice. They did the first half at the beginning of the movie, and then the second half at the end of the movie. At the end of the movie, they're at the movie theater, and there's one that says George Lucas presents Star Wars.
God.
So lots of little rock puns like that, which are pretty good. They had the BC-52s.
No, I hate the B-52s.
The B-52s.
With a passion.
Love Shack.
No, God,
baby.
their
Love
voices
Shack.
are so obnoxious. He's not even really
Love
singing.
Shack, baby.
Just stop. Okay.
How do they know about Christ?
No, because that's
BC.
pretty funny.
Yep. They must have had some clairvoyance back then because
they must.
Yeah. Anyway, what did you think about the movie overall?
I'm
just first
impressions. I thought it was delightful.
Every
single thing that I noticed, I remembered as I went. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of this that I had completely forgotten about. What I had completely forgotten about was that Bam Bam was super strong.
Right.
I don't know how I forgot about that, because that was very heavily featured in the cartoon itself.
He, lifted a car, and he was lifting the sofa, and he was lifting, the entire family's apartment,
right.
and everything.
And he was, weirdly voiced over, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I never noticed that before.
Yeah, so his voice is a little too deep. At first, I thought it was the actress who plays Tommy Pickles, maybe, who did it.
It does sound like her.
But it was some dude, some 30-year-old dude did the voice.
It could have been Christine Cavanaugh.
No, it was a guy. I looked it up. I don't remember who it was.
Was it a dude?
It was a dude.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
The twins who played Bam Bam, I cannot pronounce their names.
Well, one of them was Marcus, and the other one was...
the one's Marino, and the other's some random Scandinavian name.
Yeah, it was
Nirminer. Little squiggles that come off the letters.
Elizabeth Taylor was in this movie.
I love Elizabeth Taylor.
I didn't remember her being in this movie.
This was her last film.
Yeah, this was her last theatrical film.
And she is every bit as gorgeous as she has ever been.
She was a beautiful woman.
They put a lot of makeup on her, but I have a feeling that was just kind of her thing.
Her thing, yeah.
She wanted that done.
But she looked good.
But I loved her. And I loved how goofy her character was, and that she was just completely all in.
Yeah, she was great. I was pleasantly surprised by her basically extended cameos. She was only in 2 scenes, but she kind of stole the scene both times that she was in the movie.
Because she's the most beautiful girl in the world.
She was gorgeous.
That was from Sex and the City.
I don't know about that.
Elizabeth Taylor. Anyway, yeah, the opening was super cheesy, but every new thing that I saw, I was utterly delighted to remember, the garbage disposal,
the little pig thing,
the little green hog underneath the sink, and it's a fun movie.
And the shower, there's a few things when you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. They're taking a hot shower, and it's just
the entire movie, when you really think about it, doesn't make sense.
With their feet pedal cars, and of course you remember that, but you have the hot shower, and it's that would have to burn the woolly mammoth that is this shower. How does he have hot water coming out of his spout?
I don't know.
His spout is trunk. But yeah, it's little things like that. They're weird, but it's clever how they come up with making modern homes with animals.
Right. It's everyone on that crew had to just completely commit to being goofy and cheesy and owning it.
Well, the thing that's crazy is this. So this was Amblin Entertainment.
Who wrote this?
It was like the guy who directed it was a huge fan of the Flintstones. I don't remember who wrote it, but Steven Spielberg produced it, and he really only ever wanted John Goodman as Fred Flintstone, which I think
John Goodman's great.
John Goodman's fantastic. I love him and everything. Like he does like these comedies really great.
Except
Roseanne.
Do not say that name.
But he
is too good for
he's
that.
Great in dramas. He's great in comedy. Like I love him in The Emperor's New Groove. He's even great in like that super dark 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like he's really good. So
he's good in everything he's ever done, basically.
and he's the perfect Fred Flintstone. He kind of looks like him.
Yeah,
he's perfect. I really can't think of if they were to like reboot this, who they should cast him, because he was perfect.
Didn't he have like a stroke and his eye got a little droopy for a while there, and he just like went with it and like took the roles that worked with the droopy eye.
He's fantastic.
I love it.
Rick Moranis was good. He did the little Barney Rubble voice a little bit.
Oh man,
Poor guy.
what?
Rick Moranis has had a hard life.
Yeah, he has had a hard life.
Yeah. He's a good guy, though. He's a good father. Good for him. The only thing I didn't really like about this movie, and like we haven't even really summarized it. You want to summarize it real quick?
Not really.
So basically, in a nutshell, Kyle MacLachlan plays, I think it was Vandercave. And then Halle Berry played Sharon Stone, which was kind of funny. But they are doing this plan to embezzle a ton of money from the Slate Company. And they need a patsy, so they come up with this like aptitude test. I can't even say that word. Did I say it right?
Is Moranis Greek?
I have no idea.
Aptitude?
Aptitude, thank you. Aptitude test. And whoever gets the highest score gets to be an executive. And they think all these people in the company are stupid and that no one's going to do a good job
Wouldn't
at it.
Wouldn't that be great
if
if life worked that way? Like you took an aptitude test and we're just given things?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh.
But what happened, so Fred wins, but that's only because he loaned Barney a bunch of money so like they can adopt Bam Bam. And so to make up for that, Barney switched his test and Fred got the job. He was the patsy. And eventually you find out that, of course, the guy was embezzling money and he was going to sabotage the entire company. And that's pretty much the overarching plot of the movie. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple plot. It's an early 90s film. I feel like very similar plot to Richie Rich.
Pretty much. 90s films, early 90s films were very formulaic. And it worked. And you know what? It still works. Like, you could release the exact same plot line these days and it would still get an audience.
Right.
This was written by Stephen E. D'Souza, as well as Tom S. Parker and Jim Genuine.
Nice.
No idea.
I don't know.
Oh, well, he wrote Die Hard.
Oh, no, he wrote Die Hard 2. Oh, no, yeah, Die Hard. Yeah, cool.
Die Hard, Commando,
Tomb Raider.
Laura Croft, Tomb Raider. Okay, so he's done some shit.
He's done some stuff. Nope, he's done some stuff. Oh, he did Street Fighter?
Alright, I see you.
He's done a bunch of good movies.
I see you, Stephen E. D'Souza.
So, what are some highlights of this movie for you?
My highlights were Fred's mother-in-law's remarks towards him.
Oh, that was a great scene when like they're going back and forth.
Or like she says to her daughter, what has he ever provided to you but shade?
Well, and then he says something, goes, you've got your hands full whenever you scratch your neck.
You got your hands full and you scratch your neck. But then she says to her daughter later, and when I think of all the sacrifices your father made for you, lambs, oxen, and it's just like, it's a total throwaway line,
right.
So you have to be listening for it, but it's just hilarious.
And like, she could have married the man who invented the tire, or the wheel,
right.
From the Firestone.
It's just such cheesy crap, but it's so good.
Yeah, it was really good. I also like when they go to the adoption scene, when they're like, we'll love whatever we get, and then like they hold out like a chimpanzee. I think the baby was a chimpanzee.
Oh.
And then it was going to the Hendersons, which were orangutans. And they're like, oh, well, we'll love them anyway. And they're like, that's not for you.
And that Bam Bam's full name is Bam Bam Bam.
Yeah. What's that short for? Bam Bam Bam. I liked when so ultimately there's a point where Fred has to fire Barney. there's no real reason for it, but they
because he scored the lowest on the aptitude
but
test,
they also
which was
wanted to
actually
see if he can do something hard and fire somebody so he can be a boss. But I don't know. I felt like it was kind of a dumb plot point. But he says, "I've been with the quarry since it was only 8 feet deep." I like that. Rick Moranis is great.
So I had completely forgotten all these fun little details, like that Fred was part of a lodge, which is obviously like a play on a Masonic lodge.
Yeah.
I'm in the Masonic family, so it's always kind of delightful to see like
Different versions of that.
random, I mean, stuff that isn't like Illuminati, which is also hilarious. But, you know, he's got his lodge, he's got his bowling team, he's Twinkle Toes. I like that they kept the random stuff, like how he floats up in the air when he yells Yabba Dabba Doo.
I forgot about that. And then there's a point where he does it, and he's celebrating, but then he realizes he shouldn't be celebrating, and so he kind of like slowly floats back down.
Except their lodge is racist because they don't accept Neanderthals.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Not cool, guys.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Not cool at all.
But you know what? Overall, we find this a lot in these older movies, that there are a lot of jokes that you just kind of cringe at them now. And in this film, they were kind of at a minimum, which was nice. I agree. It holds up really well because of that. What also holds up, surprisingly, is the CG.
I agree. So
I wasn't expecting that.
They put $45 million in this movie, which back then is a decent amount, and they probably spent most of it on special effects.
I feel like it was because like these weren't expensive actors.
Exactly. So most of it was like the special effects. Like there was definitely some animatronics, and then I actually looked it up.
They had to build this entire
Jim
thing.
Henson did most of the puppets.
Oh.
They only had 12 weeks to design all the animatronics and puppets.
Whoa.
So that's incredible that they got all that done. And then, of course, a lot of it was CG, but it was done by Amblin Entertainment, so, you know, they probably used some of the same guys from Jurassic Park the year prior. But it looks pretty good. What I think sets it apart is the CG, I think, held up better in this one, more than I'd say Jurassic Park, because it was stylized and cartoony.
Right.
Just like the mask, like, realistically, the mask CG wasn't very good. But because it was cartoony and stylized,
the mask looks really good still.
Yeah, but I think
visually it's still a really striking
I think a
film.
big part of that is because it is so stylized and cartoony. Like if they went for a realistic look, it would not hold up.
I love it. And it's funny because like when you think back on how people received those films, like they were fun, but they weren't acclaimed.
Right.
And now when we look back at them, like we have fond memories of them, and they really hold up because they're cartoony and silly and have these elements to them.
Right.
Dino's voice was hella weird though.
Oh, the dinosaur?
Because, like, in the cartoon, he would only do, like, the bah kind of thing. No. And in this, he had, like, words.
No, he was voiced by Mel Blanc, who died 5 years prior to this movie. They literally took dialogue from the cartoon and
which I love.
And they just put it in the movie.
But then they had other stuff in there that was, like, he actually said a word when Fred, like, comes home and threatens to get him fixed.
He just makes, like, almost like a Scooby-Doo, like, rut-row kind of sound. Like, ruh-roh, and, like, goes away. I think. Did he say a word?
I think he said a word.
Huh.
Should check that out.
I don't remember.
It's, you know, with this movie, it's all about the details. Because for the most part, you really just have to go with it. Like, you can't think too hard about it.
You have to suspend your disbelief.
Right, but then they throw in this stuff because they're, like, recognizing that you're doing that. Like, they sit down for lunch at the quarry, and Fred is eating, like, a big ol'... It looks like a giant turkey leg, and Barney's scooping out like a soft-boiled egg, which is obviously like a dinosaur egg, but he tells Fred that, you know, it's healthier to eat less red meat. He's like, my dad ate red meat every day of his life, and he lived to be 38.
Yeah, the ripe old age of 38.
Which, like, you know,
back
in the day was pretty good. I love how the newspaper tablet shatters.
That was great.
I like rewound that just to watch it again. It was so good.
So yeah, they take the guy's on a little like bicycle thing. He throws a slate and it shatters, and then they throw a second one and it hits like the grass and like sinks into the ground.
It's so good.
And every time they show a newspaper, Fred Flintstone shows up in it like 2 or 3 times throughout the movie, and it's like the cartoon version of him on there.
So funny.
Oh, did you catch that really dark joke on the headline of the front page? On the one that sunk in the grass?
What?
So it says, peace in the Middle East talks break down.
Oh, God.
Or something that's just like that it's been a problem for as long as man's been there. That's pretty messed up.
So accurate and so relevant still.
Yeah.
I love the little details, like, Fred puts his feet up on the table and they're filthy.
Right, which makes sense because their cars are literally walking. Oh, speaking of that, it's pretty interesting. So they actually had the actors barefoot on the set.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no glass allowed on this production.
I would not have wanted to be barefoot on any film set, regardless of that, because film sets, like, especially interior things, they tend to just be warehouses,
Right?
With like the fake walls that assemble, and there are screws, and there's just like stuff lying. Like film sets, I think this is something people don't realize. Even the most amazingly beautiful film set in real life is dirty AF and kind of janky. Like, every single film set, because it's inside a giant warehouse, and it's all fake. Like, if you walk around that wall, it's just plywood on the other side.
Right.
It's so sad.
So we've been to Universal quite a bit in the last couple months. We've talked about it a little bit in the Jurassic Park episode. But you're 100% right. Like, things don't look the way they do.
That's not movies. Why I know that.
Well, no. Well, you're as actress, but I'm saying I see that now too, because we went on the Universal tour, and like, you see, like, the Back to the Future town and everything like that. You see these towns that they're using over and over and over again in pretty much every TV show and movie. And they look janky as hell in person, but they look great on camera.
Right.
It's crazy. Like, when you go in there, everything looks all dilapidated, like it's falling apart. You can see fiberglass pieces sticking out.
I can't even tell you how many times that our holding location... Holding is like when you're waiting to be used on set and you just sit around. They set up chairs for you and snacks and you just hold. Holding has been in like the Leave It to Beaver house, and it is janky and dirty. It's only a house on the outside. The inside is just empty and sad.
Like Arrested Development. Solid like a rock.
Basically. One thing I noticed, like the pterodactyl scene.
Oh, that was gross.
The pterodactyl scene is all of like, I don't know, 30 seconds. But they definitely used it in the advertisement for this film. Just to make it look like there's a little more drama.
Right. I don't remember any trailers for it, but that scene was really funny. Like, it's just like a CGI shadow over it, and then like it takes a dump and it covers an entire car.
Must have been rough.
Right.
I mean, but really, like, a pterodactyl probably would have, kind of had like an owl poop, which is just like a furry little turd.
I have no idea. I mean, we do know that like dinosaurs probably had feathers and stuff like that.
One thing I didn't understand, so they go through all this hardship, the rebels do.
Right.
Which is, exacerbated by Fred and Wilma's behavior because they get really swept up in materialism and, feeling better than everyone else because suddenly they have money.
Right.
And yet they only have money because Barney switched the tests. And Barney and... what's her name?
Betty. Barney
and Betty don't have anything because they switched the tests. So that's like the source of the conflict in this. Like him trying to do right by his friend who lent him this money so that they could adopt. So they end up moving in with the Flintstones, and they're renting out their house. But then they have this big argument in a restaurant, and they go back to the house, and they're moving out that night, but they're taking a bunch of furniture with them. Like, are they renting out their house without furniture? Like, where were they keeping all this furniture in the Flintstones house? I don't understand.
You know what also bothered me? At the end of the movie, Fred kind of, with the warning of the Dickabird, or the Dictabird.
The Dickabird.
the Dictabird.
We have a dick, we have a bird, the Dickabird.
The Dickabird. Snack dick.
Snack dick.
Every time. So Halle Berry's character kind of likes Fred towards the end because he says something like she's smart or whatever, and she realizes that the bad guy's just kind of using her. And the Dictabird kind of tells him, like, you should really read what you've been signing. So he figures out that he's being framed for embezzlement, and he confronts them. And then ultimately this guy, the Vandercave, kidnaps Pebbles and Bam Bam. Bam Bam is strong as hell. How did he not just beat the crap out of the bad guy?
I know. How did he not bust out of that little rope they had him tied up with? That didn't make any sense.
And then Fred accidentally invented concrete at the end.
Right.
Which was interesting.
I like that, but I kind of wish that it had been Barney that had that win.
Right. I think so too. Or I thought at the end, so what happened was they defeat the bad guy and then they inadvertently create concrete. So the like CEO of the company is like, I'm going to get everyone their jobs back.
Mr. Slate.
And Fred, you can be in charge. And then he goes, wait, I just want to be a regular guy. I thought he was going to say, you know what? Barney's the guy who came up with this and let Barney be the boss.
Right.
That would have made so much more sense because Barney is such a better person that he wouldn't have gone through the same kind of trip that Fred did.
Right.
So I would have liked to see it end with, Barney having a little bit of a come up.
I 100% agree. One last tidbit that I enjoyed.
Yeah?
The soap opera called The Young and the Thumbless.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
So good.
Anything else that I have?
That's
I like
it.
that slingshot gun that the guy had. That was
so
pretty
funny.
cool.
You really got to hand it to these actors that they could pull off a dramatic scene like that holding a ridiculous prop.
Right.
It's basically just like, what do you call those? They're not slingshots, but they're slingshot shooter type things.
Like those rubber band gun things?
Yeah, you don't have to pull the thing back. It does it for you. It's like that, but it's got 4 of them.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, yeah, it was basically like a slingshot that had a series of triggers. It was like those rubber band wooden guns that you get at like carnivals and stuff. But yeah, we had like one like that shot stuff. It was pretty cool. I do have 2 minor issues with this movie. Actually, 1 major issue.
No.
And it's not actually an issue with the movie. I'm going to put Ben Stiller on blast right now. He stole a joke in Zoolander from this movie.
Oh.
So, in
Did
Zoolander...
he write Zoolander?
Yeah.
Oh.
So in Zoolander, they have this scene where he's like talking about how he wants to build the school for kids who can't read good, right? Or when want to learn how to do other stuff good.
Oh, that's right.
And he goes, and so they present the Magadu
Is this
a school
for
for ants.
ants?
So in this movie, there's a point where the bad guy is, hey, this is what we're going to do to make a lot of money. We're going to make these modular homes. And we're going to do, prefab modular homes, and we're going to use geothermal and stuff like this to automate the quarry, right?
So he's got the models.
So he's got the little
homes.
model, and he goes, Fred stands up and he goes, I don't think you guys hired me for my good looks. You want me for my ideas. And I gotta tell you, no one's gonna live in those houses because they're too small.
And he holds it up like, Like he's the smartest person in the world. I love it because you think he's actually going to have a revelation in that moment, and then it's just like, oh no, he's really an idiot.
Right. I don't remember Fred. I don't remember Fred Flintstone being stupid in the cartoon.
I remember him being simple.
I thought he was just like an average Joe, everyman kind of guy. I don't like in this movie they made him seem like Fred Flintstone was actually an idiot.
Right. One thing I did enjoy about the film that is not from the cartoon is that, like Wilma kind of does wear the pants in the house.
Right.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I love the little laugh that they did.
Oh,
Betty
yeah.
and Wilma.
Betty and Wilma. That's why, so we haven't talked about Rosie O'Donnell at all. I thought she was great in this, and the reason she got the role was because she could do the laugh. So, like, one of the notes said, like, she doesn't physically fit what Betty Rubble was.
Didn't they put that poor woman into, like, the tightest girdles known to man for this movie? I think I remember seeing an interview about that.
Because, Betty Rubble, traditionally, when you see her in the cartoon, she's super, super skinny.
But she was so perfect for this role.
She did a great job. She did the laugh, she did the mannerisms.
I love Rosie O'Donnell. I worked with her fairly recently, and she's a great person.
She, I think, she's not doing a ton of stuff, but I remember, like, she was great in this, A League of Your Own. Other stuff that I've seen.
A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own.
There's
other
no
stuff
crying in baseball.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything other than Ben Stiller. I'm putting you on notice, bro. Stealing jokes. What are you, Dane Cook?
He's gonna be so upset when he listens to this.
Carlos Mencia. All joke stealers. You bastards.
I mean, yeah.
That's it. I don't have anything else.
That's it? Did it ruin your childhood?
No, I got one other thing. I lied.
What?
Sorry. As much as I liked the design of this movie, I think it was clever how they came up with all the different, like, animal products and stuff like that. I did think the sets looked like foam and fiberglass. I don't think they looked good. I don't think anything actually looked like these homes were made out of stone or anything like that. Like, I thought everything looked kind of cheap.
Right, but I think they did that because they wanted more to match the cartoon than anything else. In the cartoon, they were all, like, brightly colored. It was very candy colored.
That's true. It's just, to me, it looked like...
And, like, what the hell is Fred wearing anyway?
Yeah, why does he wear a tie when he doesn't have a collar? And why is he wearing a tie to a blue-collar job? And he's the only one wearing a tie.
He is.
He is a simpleton.
He likes to dress snappy.
That made no sense. I did like that line when they're doing the laundry. She's like, "How do you get the ring out of the neckline?" She goes, "I just started washing Fred's neck."
My grandmother, when she was learning, little segue, when she was learning how to get the ring off of my grandfather's collars, she tried bleaching it. She left the shirt collar in a tub of bleach, and she came back and the collar was gone.
She didn't dilute it at all?
No, she just straight up dissolved his shirt.
That's right. Your grandma didn't know how to do house stuff until after she was married.
Anyway, she should have just washed his neck.
I mean, there's a lot of puns that we missed that I appreciated, but I'm not going to go through and name all the puns. Like, this movie alone is worth watching alone just for the rock puns.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm not going to say it's good.
I think it's good.
I enjoyed it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I remember liking it as a kid. I don't think my parents liked it as a kid. But this was worth a watch. Like, I had fun watching it, but I don't think I'll go back to it.
It's worth watching again, just because it's delightful. It's one of those delightful films. You know, I didn't really get the warm, fuzzy nostalgia from it, but it was really entertaining, and I love a good pun.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I mean, my gut reaction is anger, but I think deep down, I enjoy puns.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a fun movie. I can't say it ruined my childhood because I didn't really remember this movie.
All right, then. That's settled.
So, Katrina, what are we going to be doing next week?
We are going to be watching and talking about Mrs. Doubtfire.
Ooh.
Yes.
I think that's going to be a good one.
I think it is going to be rife with,
goodness.
Slightly insensitive jokes.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be a lot more adult. So a lot of these movies we've watched are a lot more adult than we remember.
I'm already cringing and I can't wait.
I'm excited. So of course, as always, or at least the last couple episodes, please respond to Twitter, tweet at us, DM us, comment on our post. Tell us what you remember about Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
So you can hit up Katrina Ossity and MDXpods.
All over social media. I'm also on YouTube.
Check it out. She does all of this like DIY stuff. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, check out everything that's MDXpods related at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, MDXpods.com. You can support the show at patreon.com/MDXpods. And check out audibletrial.com/MDXpods as well if you want a free audiobook.
Woo! Thanks for listening.
Bye.